Morning. It's Tuesday, April 20th.
I read an article in an Israeli newspaper, which I get online,
which declared several things about the Iranian nuclear deal, which upset me. Now, I have been opposed to that deal from day one. I never would have given Iran any opportunity to eventually create a nuclear weapon. And so that group of nations, China, Russia, the UK, France, the United States, took a position that I was categorically against. There's no reason for a country that supports terrorism and is constantly attacking Israel to be given 10 years to create a nuclear weapon. They should get nothing. They should have gotten nothing. And they should have been told that they have to stop building these missiles and supporting all of the outlaw terrorist organizations like Hamas and Hezbollah. To my mind, if you're supporting those organizations, you certainly should not get a nuclear weapon. So now I read in this Israeli paper that Biden is taking an extremely soft stance on this Iranian nuclear deal. Apparently, according to this article, we are going to relieve sanctions, and we are even possibly going to give Iran reparations for the damage that our sanctions have done over the years. Now that, to me, is beyond the pale. It's crazy. I wouldn't give them spit. I don't know if it's true. It's in the Israeli papers, but I haven't been able to validate that information. I have looked at several other articles, and it's very unclear exactly where we stand on this nuclear deal right now. We're trying to get back in. I don't know how hard we're trying to get back in. I don't know how much we would be prepared to give up to get back in. Certainly, I would not give Iran any money. I would not give them any reparations. I would demand that they stop supporting Hezbollah, that they stop supporting Hamas, that they stop engaging in terrorism around the Middle East, that they give up the idea that Israel should be destroyed. Those are the many things that I would be looking for in this nuclear deal. And I certainly would not like to have them armed with a nuclear weapon in the Middle East, even if it takes place 10 or 20 years from now. So the whole thing is very confusing to me. We certainly don't need to get back into this deal. None of the other countries in this deal have been complying with the terms of the deal anyhow. And why are we anxious to get back into this deal? This, in my mind, is a waste of our time. With all the other crap that is going on in this country, the nuclear deal should be far, far down the list of things that we have to accomplish. If we're going to do anything with respect to this nuclear deal, we should increase our sanctions. Although I don't know if there's any place to increase it. We've already shut down 18 or 20 Iranian banking institutions. We've sanctioned a lot of their diplomats and things like that. So, I don't know. Why are we wasting our time even talking to these people right now? And of course, what I read in the Israeli paper might be the Israeli view of things, and maybe they're pitching this story to shed a bad light on the Biden administration. But I don't 100% believe that. There's got to be some truth in this story somewhere. And from what I read in some other articles, while they did not give the specifics of what we were trying to offer the Iranians for us getting back into the deal, and it always came with the thing, the sentence that Iran must get into compliance. That's the word. Iran must get back into compliance before we do anything. Oh, I don't know how Iran can get back into compliance. They probably have done enough and advanced enough in the 3.5 so years that we've added a deal that getting back into compliance might be an impossible task for them. But of course they wouldn't admit that. And they won't really admit how far along they've gone. And this explosion that occurred at Natanz has probably thrown a monkey wrench into this whole deal also. So I don't know if the explosion was good for us or bad for us. I don't know if it was good for Israel or bad for Israel. I have no idea. And so far my research has come up with nothing positive on either side of the table. So I'm just sitting here pissed because I am so against this deal, this so-called nuclear deal. And I'll be stuck doing research on this thing until I get what I would consider an honest answer. What are we really offering Iran? In my mind, as I said before, we shouldn't offer anything. But what are we really offering Iran? And what is Iran really going to give us in return? You know, Iran is probably sitting in the catbird seat because they have advanced and added centrifuges and built up their arsenal while we were in our own little world for 3 years. So why should they give us anything? Why should they agree to anything? We are not in a good negotiating position. Yes, we've been sanctioning them, but they have 2 countries, China and Russia, that are probably ignoring the sanctions. And somehow or other Iran is surviving. Well, maybe the trick is to forget about the nuclear deal. Maybe the trick is just sit down on the table and say, listen, you guys, we don't give a shit what you do. But if you keep this up, we are going to destroy your oil fields. Because without oil, they have no economy. And they're in bad shape economically anyhow, because a lot of our sanctions are working. So I think that instead of pussyfooting around, we should come to the table with a hammer. We shouldn't be willing to give an inch. Speaking of giving, though, I was very upset when Obama gave them that money back. And it wasn't so much the money that he gave back, but he gave back 20 years of interest on their money. One of the dumbest things we could ever do. So as I guess you can tell, I'm pretty pissed off about this. I'm pretty pissed off because I can't get a straight story out of anything. And I don't like that. I don't like just coming here with a rant with no solution. But I'll keep an eye on this situation, and I will keep you up to speed as best I can. So having said all of that, I will leave you for today. I'll see you in the morning. Bye.